the parishes here in the Archdiocese are involved in a strategic planning process called Renew My Church, an effort for all of us together to look to the future. How can we build an even stronger, more vital church, proclaiming the good news for future generations? The mission of the Church of Chicago was very much defined by Cardinal Mundelein, who was the Archbishop here in the late 30s and 40s. He was a big picture kind of guy, and Chicago was the center of enormous waves of immigrants, mostly from Western Europe. And in his vision of the church, he thought there ought to be a church or a Catholic institution on every corner. The church visible. Everywhere you would look, you would see Roman Catholics educating children, caring for the sick, reaching out to the poor. And so in the course of his years as our Archbishop, an enormous wave of building took place, building spectacular churches, wonderful institutions. And we have lived off that sense of mission for over 100 years. But, you know, a church doesn't stay in one place. It's like a train. It's constantly moving. And in the 1960s, there began to be tremendous changes in the Archdiocese that we weren't responding to as effectively. For instance, all of a sudden there were more and more immigrants coming not from Western Europe, but from Latin America and from Asia. There was the Great Migration that brought thousands and thousands of African Americans from the Deep South to the industrial North. There was the whole explosion of suburbs. You know, look at Glenview. You know, in the 1940s, Glenview was a very small parish. And, you know, by the 60s, a thriving community of, you know, hundreds and hundreds of families. And there was the decline of the Catholic population in the Chicagoland area, and then within the Catholic population, less and less active Catholics. So how can we be a vital parish? And how do we try to invest in what will build the church of the future, rather than squandering a lot of our resources trying to maintain buildings where there are no more Catholics? These are painful and troubling realities, but they're realities. And at the heart of the Renew My Church process is that we need to have a sense of mission. And all of us have to see ourselves not so much as parishioners, but missionary disciples. How are we evangelizing in the world by what we say and what we do? This sense of mission is not a modern insight that came up through Renew My Church or through organizational theory. We can find its roots in the gospel we hear today. Jesus just didn't send the disciples out into the world to see what was going on. He sent them out with a sense of mission. They were to proclaim the good news. They were to heal the sick. They were to care for the poor. They had a strong sense of bringing something into the world. And they would quickly find people responding when the sick were healed, the poor cared for, the discouraged feeling connected, those lacking in faith finding the power of faith in their midst. Today we reflect on this sense that we are called to be part of the mission, to be part of the proclamation. It's not so much what we do, but who we are as a people. And we know that if we think in our own life, some of the great influences in our own spiritual lives have been people who lived the mission, whether it was that sister in third grade or that coach that we had who really believed in us, or the power we feel coming to the Lord's table, receiving the Eucharist. These are the things that invite us to realize how important each and every one of us are in building up the mission of the Lord. That mission captivated those early disciples, and that mission continues to captivate all of us.
Thank you for joining us for the celebration of the Mass today. It's a blessing that you are with us. Every broadcast of this liturgy goes out to hundreds of people and hundreds of people all over the world. It's been an enormous blessing. If you'd like to support this virtual ministry of OLPH, please go to our website. you can support this ministry by going to Give Central so that we can continue to broadcast the liturgy each and every week. Thank you for your support. Most of all, thank you for joining us today. God bless you. Greetings from OLPH.